Hey guys, this is my book review for Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. It is the third book in the Infernal Devices Trilogy and the last one, but it's epic! And these books are prequels to the Mortal Instrument series, and you should definitely start with the first book in this series, which is Clockwork Angel, and the second book is Clockwork Prince. Yay! This review will contain spoilers. I have to talk about this book. This is epic! I love this book. Okay, my favorite parts, just right at the beginning, right off the bat, one of my favorite parts of this book is the worm. Apparently, the final stage of demon pox is that you become a demon. So, Benedict Lightwood turns into a worm. And I love the line where Gabriel comes in, he's like, well, you're like an expert or something on demon pox. You didn't think to tell us that he's going to turn into a demon? And Will's response is basically, the books were in the library the whole time. Nobody told you couldn't go in there and read them. Duh. I love sassy Will. It was awesome. And there were just so many worm jokes. It was awesome. Yay. Was also really funny to, I guess, we get to know Cecily now in this book. Cecily shows up, and we get to find out about Will's sister. And Cecily proves herself by jumping on the back of Benedict Lightwood, and causing him to bite himself. Yay! Also, Cecily ends up figuring out that Idris that Jessamine kept saying, where is... They keep asking Jessamine, where's Mortmain? And she keeps telling them Idris. And they're like, he can't be an Idris. He's a warlock. Warlocks can't go to the Shadow Hunter country thing, whatever, realm. And Cecily ends up figuring out that there's actually a place in Wales called Caer Idris, which Mortmain would know about because he got her family, the Herondales, and took them from there. So he's gonna know that there's a place called Caer Idris, and he would think it would be highly funny if everybody keeps questioning Jessamine, or if anybody got captured, they said Mortmain's hiding out in Idris, just to drive them crazy. But Cecily figures it out, so yay, Cecily! Then there's also the love triangle between Will and Jem and Tessa, and Tessa and Jem are engaged, so that's set. We know that everybody knows that this one's happening. And Will has told Tessa that he loves her, but he hasn't told Jem Will hasn't told Jem that Will's in love with Tessa. And Tessa hasn't told Will that she's in love with him at all. So there's all this angst going on, and this love triangle is just is awesome because they're all so well suited for each other. But my goodness. Jem ends up finding out about Will loving Tessa when he overhears a conversation that Will is having with Magnus. And then Jem is on his deathbed because there was a battle. Tessa gets captured. Jem is on his deathbed, and he tells Will, it's okay, I heard you. I know. You love her, so I can't go. One of us should go and, go after her. You're my pure body, you should be protecting my fiancé when I can't. And it was Jem, you took that so in stride, and way better than Will took your engagement. So, yay, Jem. But also, Jem's dying. On the way, while Tessa's captured, she's being taken to Mortmain in Wales. And Tessa figures out that she can escape the carriage she's in by just opening the door and rolling out of it. She's going down a hill or something, and it's really dangerous. But her necklace comes alive, and just, whoa, it becomes a full-sized, human. And it picks her up and just flies her and sets her down gently. And I thought that was so awesome, and I didn't see it coming, and I was like, what? It was sweet. Jem dies, and that part was just heartbreaking. Will's reaction to his parabody dying and the physical symptoms of it. Will's ruin starts fading, and he starts bleeding. It was just no. Not have to go through the anguish of Jem dying, but we also have to see Will's heartbreak. It was awful. Yeah. So, not my favorite part, but still really emotional and well written. Will does find Tessa in a dress. Yay! Except he manages to get himself captured also. Tessa's in a room and there's a wall there to stop her from escaping, and apparently Will can get through the wall to her, but they can't escape now, so they get stuck. And then Will and Tessa end up sleeping together, like having, sex. They're having intercourse. And I was just like, what? Part of me's like, yes. Part of me is like, yes, I'm rooting for Will and Tessa the whole time. And the other part of me is like, Jem literally died, like, that day, or that, like, you're just gonna sleep with your Parabody's fiance? He's, like, still warm, dude. What? So, yeah. Mixed emotions. And then the battle. The Silent Brothers come to the aid of the Institute, and one of the Silent Brothers ends up fighting with Will, and there's a climactic scene where they're battling, and they're completely in sync, and the hood flies back, and it's Jem. Jem's not actually dead, he just became a Silent Brother. So, yes, not completely dead. Yay! During the battle, Tessa ends up just... Tessa saves everybody at the end of this battle. She has had a vision from the angel in her necklace telling her who he is, and she reaches her mind into the necklace and becomes the angel and completely transforms. And that was just so cool. I was like, what? Yes! Tessa ends up near death afterwards, but, she saved the day. She doesn't actually die, though. And Jem comes to visit her one last time as a Silent Brother to say goodbye. And he ends up giving his blessing both to Tessa and to Will separately and telling them, it's okay to have a life after me. And tells Will, implicitly, if you want to marry her, then I'm not going to stop you. You clearly love her. And, yes, it was like, so sweet, Jem. So sweet. So, yay. Will and Tessa finally ends up happening at the expense of Jem's. Well, Jem's not dead, at least. But Sophie and Gideon, though, in this book, oh my goodness, the scones. So Sophie's the maid in the Institute, and Gideon likes her, so he keeps asking her for scones. Like, every day he's like, can I have some scones? So Sophie brings some scones. And Sophie ends up finding all the scones hidden underneath Gideon's bed. And she is super pissed off because he's just making work for her. Like, you didn't even want to eat the scones. You just made all this work for me to bring you these scones and have to make these scones, and you didn't even eat them. What? I get super pissed off, but I thought it was adorable. It was so sweet. I mean, Gideon's the sheltered... Like, Gideon's a shadow hunter. He's never been a servant. He doesn't... He thinks differently than Sophie does. But at the end of the book, and Sophie ascends and becomes a shadow hunter so that she can marry Gideon. Yay! I also loved Cecily and Gabriel. Like, Gabriel became way less obnoxious over the course of this book after his father dies and gets taken down a few pegs, and Cecily is so awesome that she can help him become reasonable. No. Cecily is so awesome that she can help Gabriel become tolerable, I guess. Yes. And then Henry and Charlotte, they both end up surviving. Yay! And they have their baby. So, yay! And Charlotte becomes the council and the first female head of the clave, so yes, Charlotte, you go, girl. And then Charlotte picks Will to replace her as head of the Institute, which I think was just awesome. Like, cool. Tessa and Will get to stay at the Institute, basically. So, yay. And then there's the epilogue. The epilogue was just so much awesomeness. We get to see Tessa in 2008, and she's been having these yearly meetings with Jem. And on her way to this meeting, she reflects back on the life that she had with Will. And Will's a shadow hunter. He's not immortal like Tessa, so he does die. But getting to see their marriage and their children and just their life together and how awesome it was. And Jem is still a part of their lives, but as a shadow hunter, he's not like there every day. But he's there for the important stuff. He's there when the shadow hunters are born, when they die, when their children receive their first marks. And it was really cool that Jem got to do that for them. But it was also sad that Jem couldn't be there for everything. Like, Will and Jem as pair of bodies were like one person in two bodies, like one soul in two bodies, and all of a sudden that's taken away from them, and Jem is separated and ends up living this life where he's separate from everybody and he doesn't have Tessa, he doesn't have Will anymore. So that part was kind of like, oh, that sucks. But he did manage to make it for Will's death. And he's there. Will has been keeping Jem's violin the entire time. In the scene where Jem takes out the violin and plays one last song for Will, plays their life together, it was just so awesome and sweet. And then Will dies with Tessa on one side and Jem on the other. And it's like, oh. So, yeah, yes. Now I'm starting to cry. And then we find out that Jem is actually cured. Jem shows up for this meeting and tells Tessa that he's cured. The shadow hunters in 2008 from the New York Institute, they find the cure, and Jem doesn't have to be a silent brother anymore. So he and Tessa finally have a chance at having a life together, which is kind of cool because Tessa thought she was going to be alone for the rest of her life. And Jem thought that he was going to be alone, and all of a sudden they actually have a shot. And Jem and Tessa can be a thing. The only thing that was sad was that Will and Jem didn't get to have their life together. They had these few years when they were children and not everything. But it was awesome, and the epilogue also made me super excited to go read Mortal Instruments because I haven't read them yet. So now I'm like, oh, I need to find out about these kids and find out if Tessa and Jem appear in the later books. So, yes. That's my book review for Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, and it was epic! Yay! So, let me know below if you read the book. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What were your favorite parts? Anything you hated? Yeah. Bye, guys! Peace!